Now, the Special Investigating Unit says it's considering going after former South African Broadcasting Corporation board members and even executive directors to have them declared delinquent directors. The head of the SIU, Hlaudi Motsoeneng, was updating Parliament's Communications Portfolio Committee on its probe into a host of irregular contracts, appointments and salary hikes that took place when Hlaudi Motsoeneng was the Chief Operating Officer. The SIU, you'll remember, is suing Motsoeneng to recover a more than 11 million rand bonus paid to him and a further 12 million rand in respect of irregular increases, appointments, suspensions and firings. Well, to discuss, we're joined by the Deputy Head of the SIU, the Special Investigating Unit. That's Caroline Mampuru. She's live from our studios in Parliament. Thank you for being with us, Ms. Mampuru. For people who haven't been following, you've been investigating the SABC for a while. Where is the overall investigation?
The investigation started when we got our proclamation last year. So proclamation 29 of 2017 commenced last year, and we subsequently then amended the proclamation, and proclamation 19 of 2018 is also running. So the first proclamation and the first phase of the investigation, which covered 8 entities, and also covered the issue of Mr. Motsoeneng, are currently before court, and that leg of the investigation has been completed. We are at various stages in litigation and also supporting the SABC with regard to the disciplinary processes. So the first phase of the investigation has been completed. We are now moving on to the second phase, whilst we run with the civil litigation and the disciplinary coming from phase 1.
So you've named names. You're already going after Hlaudi Motsoeneng in terms of that bonus, in terms of a whole lot of other things. Today, also naming James Aguma. You've named companies that milked the SABC, perhaps. There were a lot of irregularities there. So just tell us some of the main culprits here.
Look, we, in the first phase of the investigation, identified 8 companies where there was irregular processes in the appointment of those companies. So we are, as I said, going on in court, looking at the civil recoveries. So as you correctly point out, the matter of Mr. Motsoeneng is currently before court. We've exchanged pleadings. We have 2 other matters where the contracts have already been set aside. The Lona Vision matter, which also includes Mr. Aguma, the contract has been set aside. There's also the Vision View production matter, which is a contract with a value of 52 million, and that contract has been set aside. We've also managed to freeze the pension of one of the executives at the SABC because she was involved in some of the irregularities relating to the 8 contracts that I mentioned. So those are the major successes that we've had so far.
They also, let me stop you there, because there are 3 people who've received salary hikes irregularly. That doesn't seem a lot, but you're painting a picture here of a lot of irregularities. Are these people still at the SABC or all gone?
Some of the people are still at the SABC. Some have resigned. With the impeding disciplinary matters, there has been resignations. But if you're talking particularly and focusing only on those instances that affect Mr. Motsoeneng, where we are trying to recover 12 million from him, from those irregular appointments and those irregular increments that he gave, and those instances where we were able to identify that people were let go for irregular reasons. We are at the stage where we have established that at least 3 appointments that he made were irregular, and those form part and parcel of the civil litigation that is pending.
Let's talk about James Aguma and this contract, which was around license fees. So already the public perception is pretty bad when it comes to paying your TV license to SABC. Can you say that that was a dirty contract that's now been replaced? Where is the SABC right now?
That contract, as I said, has been set aside before court. The stage where we are now with the SABC and the service provider is that the court must now make a determination on equitable. So the court must do an exercise that actually determines how much of the money that has been paid to them can actually be recovered.
But what I'm saying from your vantage point, have things gotten better at the SABC? Are the current contracts clean?
I'm not in a position to comment on any of the contracts that we have not looked at. Certainly with a new board in place, a full board in place, and given the cooperation that we've been given by the current board, and some of the new executive management that we've interacted with in conducting the investigations, I get a sense that things may be well, but I'm not in a position to comment with certainty if really things are going well.
Well, there was a sense that under Hlaudi Motsoeneng, you know, he dealt with the SABC as if it was his own fiefdom. This was really to get to the bottom of how bad things were in terms of irregularities, in terms of even criminal action. How bad was it all?
Well, we have, as I mentioned, identified instances where he made irregular appointments, and that forms the basis of the recovery of the 12 million that you alluded to earlier on. But yes, the rest of the contracts that I have already mentioned that they were irregularly awarded do not necessarily point to him directly. But yes, they point to lapses in governance, certain laxity in obeying the rules and the policies that are supposed to be used to run the organization. So yes, there was a general atmosphere at the time where there was non-compliance with regulations and also irregular appointments and probably not the best use of the available resources.
Well, there were claims around procurement, in particular a multi-million rand studio, which I've been led to believe we can't access, the SABC can't access while this investigation is going on. So when do you sort of release those resources?
Look, I cannot, I guess that's a management prerogative. Management will have to decide on that. But the relevant contract in that instance would be Vision View. And as I've mentioned, the contract has already been set aside. We are at the point where we are looking for recoveries of monies lost by the SABC as a result of this irregularly awarded contract. Court proceedings, civil proceedings by their nature take time. So I really cannot say how long this will be taken. The respondents can raise interlocutory applications. We may struggle to get dates on the court roll, so it is not easy to determine how long this will take.
Final question. Current workers are feeling the effects of that former administration. You've put a figure on Hlaudi Motsoeneng, what he should pay back, 23 million rand, that's at his door. But what is the likelihood of getting that money back at all?
We believe there's a good chance that we'll recover that money, otherwise we would not be litigating. And remember also with regard to the 8 other contracts that are raised, if you look at the matters that are before court already, the 2 that I've mentioned that have been set aside, and also the others. So the 5 that are already before court, they relate to an amount of 166 million. So in the event that this can be finalized quickly and we are successful in recovering every cent, that would be a substantial amount. The other 3 matters where we're still preparing to go to court, they relate to about 200 million. So there's real prospects of recoveries of money lost by the SABC. And we believe that the evidence and the facts that we have available are sufficient and probably could put us in a good position to be able to recover that money or part of it.
All right, thank you very much for that update. So the SIU helping the SABC to try and recover that extensive amount that was lost according to their evidence. That was the Deputy Head of the SIU, Caroline Mampuru, live from our parliamentary studios.